We decided one daily segment wasn't enough for Bill Bush and Bill's Thrills, so we turned it into a week-long podcast recap. Here's Bill's Thrills Rewrapped, sponsored by Acres Equipment on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bill, it's a Football Facts Monday. What do you have for us today?
Headlines.
Ooh.
The movement of improvement versus the disguise of the demise. Movement
That is
of
incredible.
improvement versus the
Well thought out.
disguise of the demise. Teams don't stay the same. People get locked in on them, and there's such a change. Let's start off with the movement of improvement. Virginia Tech's got one loss in the ACC. They're back in it. They've got 3 losses. They beat BC 42-21.
Oh.
They've had a horrific loss where they basically were told they won the game versus Miami, which would have had them undefeated in the league. So they're still alive.
They only have one loss.
One league loss.
One
they,
ACC
they lost in it was overtime or double overtime to Vandy to start the season.
Yep.
Somehow Rutgers beat them. But now they had a running back rush for like 260 against Boston College. They looked really, really good.
Wow.
The other one
Rutgers
with
beat
this
them.
team has a ton of injuries, and they're incredible right now. Notre Dame 31, Georgia Tech 13. Notre Dame is rolling, and they are
Georgia Tech's not bad.
They're boring. You don't want to pay attention to them, and they just keep going.
What makes them boring?
And, there's just nothing too dynamic about them. They just kind of status quo, hanging in there. No marquee games really. Like must see. They've beat A&M. A&M's got one loss. They're leading the SEC.
Then they came back and lost to Northern Illinois.
And Northern Illinois lost a couple times.
So you give that coaching staff a lot of credit for keeping them on track.
And so everyone right away is like, okay, they're going to go to the playoffs. They beat A&M. They lost Northern Illinois. They're out of the playoffs. Just shelf them back there about 15th. They'll hang around season over. Good luck to you. Nope, not at all.
Got to stay even, Jake. Jake, you got to stay even.
Guess who kept the team together? The Wisconsin Badgers. 23-3 against Northwestern. Northwestern just thumped whoever it was last.
It helps that they've played Purdue, Rutgers, and Northwestern. You got to say that.
It has.
You have to say that.
But when you play at Northwestern in front in a 14,000 seat stadium on the lake,
held them to 3.
It's really odd.
Held them to 3.
Held them to 3. It's really odd. I'm just telling you, they're playing better. Their game against Penn State will be electric this week. Camp Randall will be electric. They've won enough to kind of get things back.
Is that
They're
a Camp Randall?
Yes. Yeah, and they're, I guess, like that.
Now that's the test, right there.
It's a test. I expect that to be a great game.
I do too.
I really do. I expect it to be a great game. The other one where coaching is just paramount is that Colorado 34, Arizona 7 at Arizona.
Dang. On
They
the road.
beat them up and down
Dang.
the field. Dang.
Seriously.
I mean, you
Oh,
have
that's good.
Prime has done. He took
He's doing a good job.
took the beating here at Nebraska.
Yep.
And then just said they changed. I told you when I saw him play, I go, they've changed everything. They're running this. They're doing this. The ball's out of his hands. They're not taking the sacks. They beat a team that was very good last year with all their players back, and their starting quarterback Fafita's
Well,
back.
you got to give
and they beat
Prime
him.
credit.
They're 5-2. Is that right?
5-2,
They're
yes.
5-2.
They're 5-2.
And I told you guys, I'll tell the listeners, I woke up on Sunday morning, I was brushing my teeth in the hotel, and on ESPN they do these headline things, and one of the headlines was is Colorado a college football playoff team?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, just incredible by him. Baylor, 59, Texas Tech 35. 59-35. Texas Tech was tied for the lead, undefeated in the conference.
In the league.
Yeah, they're at Texas Tech. Lubbock, as you know, brutal place to go play. You don't want to go play in Lubbock. You don't. They put 59 on them. Aranda's playing himself back into a job. That's
a wild conference.
Also, here's what's nuts about this. I talked about Jake on Friday. Joey McGuire got overlooked for the Baylor job. So Rule leaves, McGuire's on staff, and they overlook him and they hire Aranda. A year later, he goes to Texas Tech. This was a big game for them.
Yeah.
And they said it just looked horrific, as if Texas Tech never showed up.
He gave up 59 to Baylor.
Yeah. The demise. Like I said, we hit on this thing quickly before, was in the head scratchers. USC 28, Maryland 29, 3-4 USC. In 4 games, all could have won. Remember, they beat LSU to start the season.
Correct.
And then they don't stay the same.
did.
Teams don't stay the same. We already hit on the Iowa-Michigan State one. Think about this. Michigan State had 27 first downs. Iowa had 12. It was a complete ass kicking.
McNamara just doesn't. There's something not
Yeah, but
right.
that Iowa defense give 27 first downs.
27
It's
first
overrated
downs.
defense. It's overrated.
Wow.
Also, the total yardage, Iowa 283, Michigan State 468. And they got stopped 6 times in the red zone. 6 times with no
Iowa
touchdowns.
got whipped.
I mean, just got handed to them. Again, the demise. Alabama 17, Tennessee 24. They beat Georgia, and they couldn't have been. I mean, DeBoer was like the talk of everything. The last 3 games, they lose 2 of them, and South Carolina took them right to the wire. Took them right to the wire.
He's in a tough spot.
Very tough spot. Very tough spot. Michigan 7. Illinois
scored 7.
21. 7-21.
Hey, Illinois, 6-1, 3-1 in the league, and look at Illinois' schedule. That is a team that could make the college football playoff.
Absolutely.
Illinois' schedule. Jake, you're
Don't
going to
they
be
play
shocked.
at Oregon this week, though?
No, Oregon goes to Illinois.
Okay.
Whatever. I mean, that'd be 2 losses.
It's Illinois. It's Illinois, Oregon.
It's Illinois at Oregon.
What was it at Oregon?
It's at Oregon.
Yeah. So when you said that, I felt the schedule was weak, but they're actually going to play the number 1 team in
they're
the
playing-
country.
No, but they didn't look at it, though. Look at it.
But no, they're still. If they do lose that one, they
still
go
could-
10-2.
yeah.
What's after that?
Right. It gets so then they will host Minnesota. Mm-hmm. They'll host Michigan State. They're at Rutgers. They're at Northwestern.
Easily
So,
could be a 10-2.
10-2.
10-2 in the playoffs.
I mean, I'm not saying they will
No.
be 10-2.
But you're right, though.
But they
How about
could.
this one? You're at Michigan. You're 4-3. You've won a miracle game against USC. That could be 3-4. And sanctions are coming.
Yeah,
The sanctions haven't even hit yet.
they're coming.
They're coming. And they look, and you watch them on the sidelines. There was like a glossed over look on the entire Michigan sideline. They were just. They scored 7 the week before. Purdue put 49 on them.
They're down to their third. They're playing their third starting quarterback, Jack Tuttle. They're pretty anemic. Mullins didn't get 100 against Illinois. Now Illinois plays pretty good defense. Bielema's got it going there. It was sold out.
The crowd looked incredible.
It was sold out.
So me and Steve made a stand, and I think I said something Friday on the show. We talked on the show Friday. Just what are they doing with the uniforms, Illinois? What are you doing?
They looked odd.
Just play. No, I don't think they looked odd. They looked awesome.
You liked those?
Oh, I loved them.
Oh, it was so
I loved.
weird.
I thought it looked incredible. It's like 3D leather helmets. I thought it looked. I did, and I thought it was buffoonery. I like, don't do that on a big game. Just wear your normal stuff and go play.
They're honoring the great Red Grange.
Red Grange.
They were 21-7.
21-7.
They were honoring Red Grange. He had a 6 touchdown game against Michigan back in the day, and it did take 1 hour to paint each helmet.
Right.
Each helmet required
Whoa,
1 hour.
And that's good intel right
I did
there.
not
Thank
know
you,
that.
Sip.
So I was against it, and then I was for it. I go, no, I absolutely loved it.
How about Bielema?
6-1.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, do you just count out them maybe beating Oregon? Do you count that out?
No, you don't count anything
They're
out.
21.5 point underdogs in that game.
They did lose Fegan. Fegan's out for the year. Their running back, that big running back. I think it's Caden Fegan.
Yes, correct. Well, and don't forget their one loss they had. I mean, they pushed Penn State. They could have beat Penn State.
Right.
They had
Right.
Bill said the end of the first half. They
person
blew
won
that.
at the 1 to take the lead. They get no points out of it.
Altmaier threw for 80 yards in this game. That's all he threw for. He ran for 50, but
And they won by 14.
Yeah, he's pretty good though. They're just kind of they're not overly
The
impressive.
big thing is the teams, you can't judge them. Colorado, do you want to play them right now?
No.
I would.
No, and I like your Bills thrills. Rutgers is another one. Demise. Something's happened to them.
Yeah, they're complete demise. They've lost everything.
3 straight
May not win a
losses.
game. Who's Rutgers have, Jake? Give us Rutgers real quick.
I don't think it's bad.
It's not bad. They have a very easy schedule.
it's not bad
They have
at
a
all.
very easy schedule.
Oh, hey, after the break, we'll give it to you. We're way
thank
behind
you.
also.
We're way behind.
We're behind.
Way behind. Bill, it's a Bugaboo Tuesday. What is bothering you today?
Things that bother me. This one's way different. This is way off. I know Steve usually knows that I pull up to something in general in life that bothers me. This one's a little bit different, like that.
Okay.
Monster games and mega misses. Monster games and mega misses. Why, God, why? Why in the world did it take over 150 years to get 12-team playoff? Why, God, why would it take 150 years? 1869, Rutgers played Princeton. 1869. And they finally get to a playoff system. And here's why I think about this. There are mega games all over the schedule every week now. This week, there are so many mega games. I'm not talking about the ones. There's still, I counted up, I think there's still 58 teams alive for the playoffs.
58.
58 teams that have a chance at the play. Think about this one. Thursday and Friday. Syracuse-Pitt. One-loss Syracuse versus Pitt. Incredible game. Playoffs.
Thursday night?
That's Thursday night. Friday night, Boise State, UNLV. That's for the playoffs.
Is it?
It's for the playoffs. How about Saturday? Notre Dame, Navy, playoffs. Illinois, Oregon, playoffs. Mizzou, Alabama, playoffs. Texas, Vandy, playoffs. Penn State, Wisconsin, playoffs. LSU, Texas A&M, playoffs. SMU, Duke, playoffs. Cincy, CU, playoffs.
Implications.
Nebraska, Ohio State, playoffs.
Implications.
And there's a lot of teams that are still in the playoff, but they're not playing someone else across the board that has the same one. Every one of those teams are still 100% in playoff mode. And just the fact that it took this long to be able to have this interest.
There's got to be reasons.
Because right now, the interest level would be down to 8 teams.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be 8 teams in the discussion right now.
Yep.
And that would be it. That would be all there would be to
I
it.
wonder why.
But this is the one that gets me. Just think of this. And we can just, if you just want to go Huskers, that's fine. Just think about the mega misses, the thousands of what happened right there. Just with that pre-BCS, they just voted on the champion. They just voted who they thought was best.
I remember it.
Then they went BCS. Imagine all the teams that were third. There were undefeated teams that didn't make it. There were undefeated teams that didn't make it into the playoffs, didn't get into the BCS. They went undefeated.
And it was wildly popular.
Undefeated, didn't get in. Can you imagine that? The 4 teams, think about this one.
I can imagine because I lived it.
Just last year, Georgia went from 1 to 6. They lost on it by one score on I think it was one score on a neutral field, and they went from
Bama
to Bama, and they went from 1st to 6th and didn't make the playoffs.
Ooh.
Can you imagine that? Imagine being number 1 right now going into it and missing it. So then they just go backwards like that, and obviously Florida State too. Think about Nebraska, the 1 second put back on the clock. Mm-hmm. Nebraska's still going to make the what? Playoffs. They're still going to the playoffs.
2009.
And Bo wouldn't have said, there's a reason for this.
Yeah.
BCS.
Yeah. How about 1980?
Remember that?
How about 1982? Penn State's out of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Penn State's out of bounds on that on their sideline like that. They're out of bounds.
Wouldn't have mattered as much.
But yeah, it wouldn't matter as much because Nebraska still would have got into the playoffs. They were probably the best team in the country. And because of that one loss at that time, it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. There's thousands of teams that potentially could have been national champions that got outed because of the system.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it was still really popular. I mean, college football is incredibly popular.
It's still popular, but it's not like it is now. It's way more popular.
You're saying this is better times right now?
This is better times now.
A rare instance.
This is better times right now because of the games that you start looking at. Think of the games. Was there any interest in the really, really deep interest in the Boise UNLV game?
No.
Now there is. Now there's major interest because there's chance for playoff spots. Everything's going to be different. I want you to think about this. Will they hang Final Four banners? Will there be Final Four banners? We made the Final Four in football. Could you imagine if you won the Big Ten in basketball and automatically put you in the Final Four? It buys you all the way into the Final Four. I mean, it is just incredible, the games and the excitement now. There's 58 teams that are still available. In week 7 right now, in week 7, say all you want, Nebraska's 100% in the playoffs conversation. They're 5-2. Beat Ohio State, and they're and then the
wash away that lost Indiana.
And they go 10-2. They're in the playoffs.
Yep.
And so teams are still alive. Where there was at this time last year, if they had 2 losses last year, it was over. It was over. There's going to be 10-2. Every team that's 10-2 has a great chance. There'll be a 9-3
better that
team.
way.
It's better that way to have it. And
It's better that way. I can't get fully on board with it's better times. I can't. I don't know about that. It's better that way for sure. But I liked it kind of better.
There were times when Miami was playing for the national championship and against Nebraska in the Orange Bowl, and Nebraska was 9-3 or 9-2, and they were 11-0. That was the Orange Bowl for the national championship.
It was flawed.
Yeah, it was heavily flawed.
Yeah,
and
it was flawed.
But yeah, it was crazy because also the Division II, Division III, 1AA, they figured it out like 50 years ago of how to do it, but they couldn't get it figured out, and now it's
in Division I.
Just think everyone. You have a chance. It takes away from those of, hang on now, we can all get in the playoffs. So now every time It's not like, well, we have to be at Alabama, we have to be at Georgia, we have to be at Clemson to have a chance to play.
No, now you don't.
Now you don't. Now you have other opportunities.
Beat Nebraska.
And so they're going from 12. They're already going to 14, and it's going to go to 16.
What's the threshold?
I don't know.
Where does it get where you don't want to go any further?
I think 16 is about
16,
that, right?
I think 16 would be it. I think
that's
that.
about it.
The only problem with 16 that I would have is that would mean that one has to play 16. And I think they deserve a bye. And what, like right now, I love the 4 byes in those first 4 games on sites, on home sites. Those will be, just wait till that comes up, that conversation. We got 4 games. When are they going to be played? Oh, at home. Iowa State can be hosting in -9 degrees. Iowa State can be hosting.
That
and right now,
would be
also,
incredible.
Also, Iowa State right now would be thinking, okay, here's the deal. We're 7-0, but we've got to run the table. If we don't run the table, we're not getting in. We have to run it. Now they're not. No, 1-loss team have a great
They're
chance.
probably in.
Could be a 2-loss team and get in. It just makes the inclusion is so much better. It makes for better times. And
Times.
If you go back in
I don't know
history,
about
just
that,
think of the teams that got.
Oh yeah, I mean I get what you're saying.
Man.
There's no pushback there. I just like college
This,
football
this is
better.
a
than
rare
1985.
example where it's right now better times. I'm concerned about this, Bill. Are you okay?
I know.
Are you okay?
I don't. that's what I'm having trouble with.
This is not Bill Bush.
Reverse better times.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Sometimes
to me.
you have to. It's confusing.
I'm very,
It's exhausting.
I'm very thrown off right now.
It's exhausting.
Very thrown
This
off.
is better times.
This is for college football. It is. Yeah.
This is better times.
Because when you turn the games on and you have all these, because before you wouldn't have cared. There's just no chance you're all pumped up about these games. It just doesn't happen. Missouri, Alabama, what is it, number 19 versus 15 or whatever it is. You're kind of going, yeah, it's fun to watch. Where's it taking you? They're going to hope to go to the Cotton Bowl, and they're going to play.
Yeah,
and,
that was it.
and they hope they're going to play one team, but one team won't show up. One team will have all their players opt out. So
well, now that wasn't an issue back in the day.
back in the day, it wasn't, but that's
wasn't
where it's at now. If you didn't,
That's where I don't. The better times thing. I don't know. Like I don't. College football was in a much better place in like 1985. Like there wasn't opt outs. The bowls were very meaningful.
very meaningful. I agree.
This is a part of it that's better. I'm not willing to go into
I'll
it's
agree with
all
that.
better.
I'll
This is
agree
a
with that.
part of it that's
Yeah,
better.
yeah. I just said that right now, I'd rather have these times than I would 85.
Better times right now. Strange.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
thrown
better
off.
times
I am
right
thrown
now.
off.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it.
I need to. I
Reading
need
the
to.
text line, am I getting?
We have a couple
Am I getting
responses
beat
here,
up
yeah.
over this? 'Cause I'm sticking with this.
No, you're fine.
Some responses. Ryan in Delaware says, remember when the undefeated SEC team got left out of the BCS 2004 Auburn?
Auburn, undefeated in the SEC, didn't get in.
I don't. Yeah, it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't an Auburn fan, but
Hole in a Boat says, it's crazy that it's way harder now to win a conference title game than to make the playoff.
it's a little revisionist because it wasn't like a lot of people. Like we enjoyed college football. It wasn't like I ain't watching it. I'm not watching
No.
these games. It wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that at all.
No. It wasn't like, well, they don't have a playoff, so I ain't watching it. It wasn't that. I
Agreed.
mean,
But it was getting that way. That's why the change was so great.
Right.
It was getting to the point to where it didn't have that anymore.
when did it start getting that way?
About when the first opt out started.
Yes.
When the opt out started.
Now it does.
That's right.
Okay.
Because now they're these.
Yes.
You're going to get the top 12, eventually the top 14 to 16 teams. Everyone's playing. Everyone's playing.
So it helps stave off opt outs.
Absolutely. Just think, who was it last year?
Oh God, it was.
Who did Missouri beat? Ohio State. They all opted out. We know
Yes,
Florida a
that's
couple
right.
years ago.
So when did it
That-
start? I think when McCaffrey
2015.
Yeah, about that time.
about that time. It was McCaffrey caused a lot of consternation nationwide when he opted out. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
Then Myles Garrett came out that year. Myles Garrett, you know who that is?
I do.
He came out and said, "Why would I opt out, man? I'm playing in a bowl game with my
Playing
team.
ball.
Yeah.
I'm playing with my guys. Why would I opt out? No, I'm playing with these. Why would I turn my back on these guys?" And I thought, I'll take Garrett over McCaffrey every day of the week.
Yeah. Oh no, we all love that part of it. We all love the part of the guys
Opt outs.
that play.
That's the key, though. You're
The
right.
key is the opt out.
Now you're
and that
swaying me a little
was
bit.
not going to reverse itself.
No.
Your opt out. Also,
It was
there's
not.
people that opted out of the bowl games last year. They didn't even get drafted. They thought it was cool. They thought it was cool to say I'm opting
I'm
out.
just done playing
It was
ball.
almost to draw attention to themselves. Yeah, no can do. I'm opting out, and everybody's like, "Oh, hang on, who is that? We got to put an eye on him." Oh, you didn't even get.
Okay.
That's the
didn't get
backup
drafted.
guard.
So
Yeah.
2015, is when, interesting.
9 years
now
ago.
you're kind of
There was no
you had to do it, right?
You had to do it. There was no saving it. If not, it was going to be down to just 4 teams, and everybody else was. The other bowl games already showed that. That wasn't good.
Back to more of Bill's Thrills Rewrapped, sponsored by Acres Equipment on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bill, it is a Wild Card Wednesday. What do you have on your mind today?
I just want to paint a picture of an incredible loss. That we obviously on this show we follow UConn very closely, and they had a very difficult loss, 23-20, to Wake Forest. They were driving to win the game. There was a horrific no call on a PI. They gave him we gave him a chance to tie the game or go to overtime or to win the game. And there was a press conference afterwards, and Jim Mora was on it.
I'm proud of them for fighting back. We've got to make sure that we put ourselves in a position where it doesn't come down to one play where an ACC team makes a horse call against an independent. And that's up to us to play better at the start of the game so it doesn't come down to that call, which was holding and PI. And that's what I told them, and we'll come back and we'll fight. So it's on us to play better earlier, but it'd sure be nice if it was a level playing field. Questions, anyone?
Jim, I mean, obviously the way it came down is not...
Yeah, it was a hold and a PI. Hold and a PI.
Did you get an explanation from me?
Here's your explanation. ACC versus independent. There's your explanation, Dom. It's pretty simple. All right. Thanks, everyone.
There you go.
Wow. Bo Pelini.
God, my take is this. Every coach should get one per year. Every coach should get to have one rant per year against someone like that. Give them one chance to say what's really on their mind, because no one can ever say it. And it also gets back to, which has been talked on other shows. So this is the ACC. This is the same crew also that overturned the Virginia Tech game against Miami when no one could see the ball. So when this happens, what do you have? Conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Whether they're true or not, and I really don't think they are, but how do you not have them? That was an independent.
Yeah.
Their crew was ACC, and they didn't make the call. And so no matter what, that comes up. We all know that who did the ACC really need to win that game, Miami versus Virginia Tech? Virginia Tech had 2 losses, Miami had none. If you don't have that, so it comes back to one thing that we talked about on the show. You have to have a commissioner, and there should just because of this is how we've always done it. There cannot be conference refs. There cannot be Big Ten officials, SEC officials, ACC officials. The officials have to fall underneath one group, one leadership, and that's where everything is at. There's just no way that this should ever happen. There's just no way that this should ever happen. There should just be a group of officials. You have a commissioner of the officials. They're the ones that disperse where they're going to go work at. You want the crews to work together for continuity. That helps you.
Oh, yeah.
But all of a sudden, though, if it's like, no, we just do Big 12 games, we do this, it's almost impossible not to have things. That eliminates all that. The NFL, they don't just referee the AFC South. They don't. They are referees for the NFL. And if they don't get to this, it gets back to the commissioner of overseeing football. If you don't have some of this, there is just separate agendas by conference. And if someone can say it's not true, it's hard to say for the general fan to not have some sort of perception, and perception's reality. And so the deal with the one that happened at Texas is so unreal because they marked it off. They made the call and they marked it off against Texas. And then they reversed it after it was marked off because the bottles got thrown on the field. Also with that, you know what else the officials didn't do to Texas? They didn't penalize them. They didn't penalize them 15 yards for throwing debris on the field. They acted as if it never happened.
That was rough.
And so Kirby was right with it. If they would have just, you always have the option of waving the flag right away. There's no flag. There's no call in the play. There's no flag. They didn't. They marched off the yardage against Texas. Then the mayhem happened, and then that's what went down. And then you're as a coach can't say anything, can't say a word, can't say one word because otherwise I can't say anything. Boy, that gets hard. It gets really hard. And if they have at least if they have one person as a commissioner overseeing officiating, that helps things a lot. So That's my take.
Jim Moore Jr. again dropped a horse bleep in that angry rant and
Interesting.
a bleeping in there as well.
Jim Mora.
He's fired up, just like his dad.
I would have been.
It comes from
Go watch the play. It was egregious. Like I said, it was a hold and a PI. It was both. It was both. Keeps everything alive. They have a chance to tie the score. They were down 10 with like 3 minutes to go, making a miraculous comeback, giving themselves a chance. Like I said, and it's just he said it. He goes, it's real simple. ACC refs against independent. Ouch. You tell me. And it's hard not to push back a little bit, or at least have a weird thought in your head when that stuff happens.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree.
So
totally agree.
We have a text from Who Columbus Bert says, have refs always been this bad? Seems like this year is a complete ref show across college football.
There was a crazy one last night they were totally wrong on. I mean, I'm watching the end of the UTEP game. UTEP gets the first down. They marked him short on a fourth down play, and then the teams switched out into the game, and the announcers are like, they need to look at this. He made it. They need to look at this. No one looked at it. And then the next time UTEP, they mark him first down. They're driving the last 40 seconds to go. They marked him first down. He was 1.5 yards short. They reviewed it. He was he gave first down. He was 1.5 yards short, which gets back to this one, which I want to be able to get this. It's going to happen, and it's going to come from the ticket. There needs to be a referee that does nothing more than spots the ball right at the sticks. Because this guy came running to spot the one from 5-6 yards away. He can't tell how far they went, because all you need to know is like, nope, he was 1 yard short or 6 inches short, or he made it. All the one person, what's your job? My job is the spot. And all that really matters, they're not trying to figure out if they missed the spot, if it's 2nd and 6 or 2nd and 7. But when it's on a first down, they need a body at that spot to be able to do it. And so, but it was crazy. They were completely busted last night.
That'd be an important job. I mean, spotting the ball is everything.
And the way money is now, they can't say that we can't have this better. But the officiating has been, but I just think the conspiracy theory against people that are probably, in my mind, they're great people. They're not trying to make mistakes. But how do you not look at it if the ACC? How do you not look at the ACC and say this was pretty obvious?
How would it work if there was a conspiracy? Would the commissioner get to the ref? I mean, it's always interesting to think, how would it actually transpire?
They talked about it in Northern Arizona. They sat a ref down for a game because he made a critical error on a missed extra point that was missed. They called it good and they reviewed it. And it's like, it wasn't even, he missed it. But you changed the call and it's a major thing. And so there's just a lot to it. I feel for him. I know it's hard. I know it's really hard. But it's not hard to throw a penalty against Texas when their entire crowd threw trash on the field.
Oh God,
that was quite a sight.
That's not hard to call that one.
No, I agree.
And then to mark it off, and then to go back, and it's a non-reviewable play. It's not reviewable, and so that doesn't add up. And so there's just so many little things, and it's hard. It's hard. I feel for him in that spot, but it needs to be underneath. There should never be conference referees. Should not be. Should be one group of officials, and they get sent to where they're going.
And Jim Moore Jr. agrees with you, Bill.
Yes,
as that.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim. People are saying the text line, well, that's why you need to have a chip in the ball.
Oh,
yeah, there's something to that. Yeah, there's something to that.
It doesn't always help to know where you went down. Did your knee go down earlier, though? You know where the ball ended up.
It wouldn't end everything perfectly. If you just had would you not feel really good if there was a guy standing right on the first down marker? And he's like, no, got it right here.
Yeah.
8 inches short. It's what I've got. At least you would feel better. When a guy's running, if you watch the play.
I watched that.
If you watch the play, watch the play last night when UTEP's driving and they marked it as a first down. The guy's coming from 8 yards, and also he runs down there and says, here's where it was. There's no way you could tell where it was. On the goal line, someone's on the what? The goal line. Someone's on the goal line.
Right.
So, interesting.
Brian, before we get to the game, Brian on YouTube says, when I was in college at Idaho, we had a ref that said a field goal was no good when it was clearly made, and all the refs had to get together and make the correct call and say the field goal was good, or it was no good. Oh, sorry, when it was good. The ref called it no good.
If you Google it, there's one where a referee where they measured it and it was short by an inch, and the referee stood up and said first down. It said first down.
Come on, man, just measured it.
It's measured. The sticks are still down, and so
we can all see this. This is worldwide visual.
Oh man,
they miss them.
Bill, it is a cool parenting tips Thursday. What do you got for us?
Oh, hang on.
Put your pink glasses on. We're getting serious.
It's coming. Cool parenting
Look at these
tips.
glasses.
Cool parenting tips.
He doesn't have just a sheet anymore.
Those
It's
are-
like
yeah.
a full
It's a nice
portfolio.
notebook.
It's getting
notebook.
serious.
It does.
He's upgraded here.
Wow.
He's upgraded.
It's not a joke. Enjoy being broke. It's not a joke.
Story of my life.
Enjoy being broke. Let your kids know the financial strain as a young adult will be the best times of their life.
Whoa.
It's not a joke.
You could do a whole
Enjoy
show
being
on this,
broke.
Bill.
All right.
Best-
I'm very curious where we're
Best
going.
times of your life. Like that. How to find food in the office. How to find, when I was a graduate assistant, you'd find out it was somebody's birthday in the ticket office and they had a cake there and you just show up. Hey, just checking on those. Oh, whoa, there's something here. Oh, God, it's better times like that. Happy hour. Used to be happy hours. You have enough money for one beer. You'd show up and eat 20 meatballs. It's just embrace.
And here you are.
And here you are.
And you're
Embrace
still
being-
healthy.
I lived in, me and Duke and Threads, we lived in a house in T-Town. And we lived in the basement, me and Duke.
You did?
But the ceiling was only 4 feet tall in the basement. That's where our booth. So when you
crawl
walked
around.
down, you couldn't stand up. You
crawl.
couldn't stand up, and that's where we lived. And that's just, it was like, oh God, it was great. So it was 4 foot tall like that. A card table for a dresser like that. Like that. So a card table. That's why I set up. That's why I set a card
put
table
the
for
clothes on top of it.
My parents when they were young. So it's okay.
This is
Embrace
incredible.
this.
You lived in T-Town?
When my parents were married, they played like, and on the weekends they'd play with friends like on a wooden floor, jacks, and then they would steal toilet paper from a gas station. And like that, it's because they didn't have enough money to have their own toilet paper. God, the stuff that you would do. But here was one paying for gas with change. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine to go in and pay gas with change like that. It happened to me hundreds of times. Walk in, just have a wad of quarters. Here's what I got. Give me $4.25 on 4. And my last one to talk
get you a
about.
gallon.
The last one, I'm a graduate assistant at Kearney State College. I'm a football GA. Greg K, my good friends with the basketball GA. It's summertime. I'm walking through this little hallway where they're at, and they're all eating. They had a big pile of shaved ham and white bread, and they're eating these ham sandwiches. I'm like, oh my God, that looks incredible.
So hungry.
Greg goes, sit down, grab a sandwich. He goes, get a sandwich. He goes, it's during camp. He goes, but you got to coach. I sat down, had an unbelievable giant ham sandwich, and then just went out on my own and started coaching high school players in basketball low post play. I never played the post in my life. I have no idea what I'm. All of a
film
sudden,
of this.
I'm out there, and Jerry Heiser, the head coach at Kearney State
Jerry
College,
Heiser.
walks by me, and he's like, all right, get down. I had no idea, and I did it for a ham sandwich. I just wanted a sandwich. I just hadn't eaten.
It was a basketball camp.
It's a basketball camp for high school kids.
Yeah, Jerry Heiser was the coach back when Doc Farrell was the coach.
Absolutely.
At Hastings.
Yes, that was Tom Kropp was there.
Tom Kropp,
So
yeah.
Kropp would have been coaching with me. Tom Kropp. Tom
that's
Kropp.
amazing.
Imagine him looking over
You're
there.
coaching the post.
Imagine me, and I'm in the post. Hey, here you go. Ask for the ball. Ask for the ball. Get a hand up here. Give him a hand.
That was good.
I'm saying stuff like that.
You
too.
knew what you were doing.
And Kropp's walking by me, had to be going like, first of all, why is the football GA coaching low post basketball? Well, he wanted a ham sandwich.
He was hungry.
He wanted a ham
You think
sandwich.
if he knew that, he would understand instantly?
Yeah, I think
The power of
don't
the ham
think-
sandwich?
Yeah, the power of that.
Yeah.
I think right away, he saw me later. He's kind of gave me one of these, like, "Yeah, get down, man."
I think you could. I mean, Ron, first of all, has to be very proud of you because he taught you basketball. I'm not surprised you could coach low post.
I probably had some idea, but
Yeah,
I'm just
you
saying,
do.
when
You
you
do.
go to camp and you pay money, that's not the guy you're looking for. Who is it?
The footwork part would be-
footwork part, literally just defense palms up, like that. Move your feet.
Were we get a text from somebody that attended that camp
The
and
camp.
remember?
I was there. It would have been about 1990, 91, somewhere in that time.
They went on to lead Class A.
Class
and,
A.
points
Yeah, I
in the
remember
paint.
that. Oh, it's not a joke.
Was it?
Enjoy being broke. Better times. Better times.
You lived in
People
T-Town.
worry so much about trying. You'll remember your times way better when you had to have that struggle. Sip, I know you had to find a way to get food at the Journal Star or different places.
I was a master at
Yeah,
it too.
yeah, you had to be.
Yeah.
Jake's like, look, Jake. This never happened to Jake.
No. I had to scrounge for food. Not like that.
Yeah.
Listen, Ben's weighing in. Ben's weighing in.
Ben's in the crease.
He says, "I've never been that." See, you didn't live like me and Bill.
Yeah, it was a lifestyle.
No, we had the big thing at the General Store was free popcorn would come in on Thursdays, huge bags, and sometimes that was just my Thursday and Friday.
Yeah,
just popcorn, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you did.
This is popcorn.
Anything
Dr.
in the
Pepper.
text line, Jake?
We have some response from people here. Let's see. Gator says, nothing makes me more excited than when someone emails the whole office, quote, donuts in the lounge.
Yeah, so anything like that. Yeah, anything that came about, it was like, It was unbelievable. If you got wind of something, that hey, there's some food
It was
somewhere.
definitely when I was an intern at the foundation and a couple other places, and it's like, oh, donuts,
Yeah.
cake,
Anything.
brownies?
Yeah, brownies.
I'm taking care of till 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Or-
this is my day.
3 o'clock.
Hey, Mike, can you sit in on this conference? We're going to cater in lunch. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do I have to do? I have to stuff some envelopes and take notes? Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that.
I can do that for a
can do
sandwich.
Well, this is a
Low
home
post
run.
play at Kearney State
I get
College.
that. I definitely get that.
Some more response here. Tommy says, I was broke in my 20s. I was working at my Walmart and became friends with the manager of Subway. She used to hook me up with a few loaves of bread a day with meat and cheese. She was an absolute saint.
Oh, yeah. When
Your
you're
life
broke.
gets saved by someone like that looked after you in some time of dire need. George Dar they back in the, so now everyone gets fed at the university. Everyone eats for free. Full meal, full buffet.
What an
It's incredible.
line. Now everyone gets fed.
They all get fed. We got nothing. George Darnson figured that out that we didn't get any money. So George just changed up and he goes, I won't eat over there. I'll ask for a to-go meal. So George would have asked for a to-go meal, and they'd make him 2 sandwiches, some food, and whatever. And I'd go over and pick it up for him in a bag. And then the guy kind of figured out that what was going on. He'd load it up. But George would not go eat at the training table so that I could get a sandwich.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So I could get a sandwich.
God bless him.
Yeah. So that's better times.
Way better.
Way better.
You in T-Town is better time.
My mom freaked out.
I bet.
When she saw where I live, because talk about a death trap. I mean, for a fire? Are you kidding me?
I
mean,
oh, and a 4, yeah, not
yeah,
T-Town's
Just wake
not
up
a-
disoriented.
And there's
You decide to stand up.
yeah, and there's no and there was no windows. There's no windows down there. Going down there.
So you were in the Hartley neighborhood.
Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, I loved it.
4-foot ceiling.
Yeah, I loved it.
You
One
had
time
to
we came
crawl.
out, we always took our shoes off outside the house, and someone stole all our shoes. We came out the next day, everyone's shoes were gone. It's like, well, what happened? Someone stole our shoes. Well, I gotta find some new shoes.
Damn it.
How many did they take? All of them. There's 6 pairs.
Some response before we
Please,
get on
please.
YouTube. Brian says, ramen burritos in college, 10-cent packs of ramen and a pack of burritos that would last a week.
Oh, yeah.
Ramen was
Absolutely.
huge. Macaroni was huge.
Better times.
Noodles for sure.
So just tell
It
your
was
kids
better
it's
times.
okay.
Oh,
matter of
100%.
fact, in fact, you really need that strain in your life. If everything is just Xanadu, you don't know that. So my deal was always cashews. I'm like, one day I'm going to have enough money to buy cashews.
Yep.
And I'd walk by them all the time. Like, don't have that. I can get this. Got that. The cashews tasted better back then. They don't taste the same now.
No.
They don't taste the same. I can buy cashews now. Don't taste the same. It's not as big a deal.
I think
I
that's
like it
100%
being
true.
cashews specifically.
What's that?
That it's cashews.
Well, I like cashews, but they were so much pricier.
Right.
I mean, it was just the expense was like $2.69 for a bag of cashews. That's what I eat on for 3 days.
Huge upgrade over
Yeah.
peanuts is what he's talking.
Huge over
definitely
peanuts. Like,
better.
and it's like I'd love to someday live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
I'd like to live the cashew lifestyle.
Now you are.
Now I kind of am. I can get cashews.
You can get some
I can get
cashews.
cashews.
Yeah, and I totally understand where you're coming from.
That is a wonderful edition of Bill's Thrills, sponsored by Dirk Scott and Ty at Mid Plains Advisors, a cool parenting tip.
Low post
Thursday.
That was a cool parenting tip.
It's good stuff, Bill.
It's beautiful,
Thank
Ben.
you.
I hope you listen. Well, Ben's very well to do. So.
Ben's already said it. Ben's wearing a $150 pair of shoes right now.
this doesn't
in
apply
high
to you,
school.
does it?
Imagine us in college spending $150 on a pair of shoes. That was the rent for
No.
a couple months.
No, unless no.
It wouldn't happen.
No, I would call my mom and dad for money. My dad would always say no. My mom maybe would sneak me a little bit.
but-
I'd be like, Mom, I'm down. I have Cheerios. That's all I
you
got.
got
So, okay, I'll send you 50. All right. Yeah. All right.
Thanks,
thank you.
Mom.
Yeah.
Helps out.
Back to more of Bill's Thrills Rewrapped. Sponsored by Acres Equipment on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bill, it's a Freaky Football Friday. Is that right?
Absolutely. How about yesterday? We had a chance to talk about what it's like the better times of being broke and just
Yes,
having
we did.
nothing. And then yet, when you're older, what do you want? Not to be broke.
Yep.
And who helps with that, Jake?
Mid Plains Advisors, the cash cows,
They're-
the ATMs.
Right now, they do not fear the election. How many times have you heard that one, Jake? Oh, the election.
every day.
The election.
10
Can't do
times a
anything for
day.
The election. Everything's the election. Not phasing those guys. No. Their money's coming in by the barrels and the bales. They have bales of cash sitting around their
I like
office
that
right
visual.
now.
The
Yes.
barrels and bales coming in.
Barrels and
But
bales of
it's a great
cash.
visual.
So we're talking college football, and I always like to talk about games that just have extreme interest. I always think about this. every week in the NFL, what is there, one or two? Besides, if it's not your team, how many games do you think is like, this really interests me?
Two,
maybe one or two. And
Yep.
even that's not a huge deal.
Three's a reach.
There's usually about Division I football. There's 60 something games, 65 to 70 games a week. There's like 25 to 30 games that interest me at a high level every week. That's why college football is so great. Tonight, the game that intrigues me and should intrigue the Husker fans tremendously. Rutgers at USC. That's they're flying 3 time zones out there.
That's a trip.
But the thing to see is, who is USC? I think right now this game will tell you what you're going to run into out there. And because my hypothesis is it might not be much if they don't change the quarterback and do something different to get USC going. If USC would happen to lose this game, they're already 3-4. I think I said the other day, they think the buyout is somewhere around $100 million. They want
That might be right.
Something like $100 million to buy out Lincoln Riley. But they're right now they're a mess. And Nebraska's got to go out there soon to see what's going on there. Washington, Indiana, we talked about, and for the reason of this, we already hit on it. I'll be very brief. Game day's there, and then the Big Ten Network shows the game. That's never happened
It's
ever.
just very
ever.
odd. It's
Game
odd.
day always has they'll like last year they would go to, well, okay, we don't have it's on ABC because it's a SEC game. It's on CBS, but they would still go to Alabama, Auburn, or wherever. They would still go do the game. I've never once seen. Imagine going to a game at it's the Big Ten. It's game day, and it's the ACC network. Just can't
Odd.
see that. That's very
It's
odd.
not right.
BYU at UCF is extremely entertaining because I see UCF kind of bouncing back a little bit, and BYU so far they have not had a clunker. Usually every team has one, right? Every team has a clunker. Nebraska's played 7 games?
Yep.
They've had one clunker. They lost to Illinois. I wouldn't call
It's
it
a
a
good team.
clunker.
It's a good team.
And I wouldn't call it a clunker at all.
No.
But BYU has not had one where they just go, what happened? That's a big deal to fly from Provo all the way down to Florida.
Yep.
That's a lot. So I'd be very interested at that. Northwestern at Iowa, I think, is beyond intriguing. Iowa looked terrible against Michigan State.
It did.
Their numbers were terrible. Like I said, I think it was like 27 first downs to 12 for Iowa. And so the Northwestern, so the reason I bring that one up is Husker fans watch that one close. See what you're going to come up with against Iowa when you play them. I think my favorite game of the week, hands down, is Michigan State at Michigan. Michigan, I mean, whatever it was, a year ago or 2 years ago, I guess it would have been, when the whole Mel Tucker thing broke out and the bottom just fell out of Michigan State. I mean, could it got any uglier?
Nope.
What the accusations, what it looked like on the field. I mean, Michigan State was terrible last year. It was horrible. And yet now they've kind of bounced back. All of a sudden, they've done a great job. And they're in a rough spot. Imagine this setback would be to Michigan to lose this and go to 4-4 with sanctions coming, things not
We
going
said
well.
that if they lose this, there's a chance they miss a bowl game.
There's a chance. There's a chance to miss a bowl game. Because remember, they still have got Ohio State coming.
Yes.
They're not going to beat them.
No.
And so
No way.
No way it's going to happen like that. Then KU at K-State. Does KU get their season right? They've only got 2 wins. But do they get their season right and go to K-State? History tells you no. Very tough game. Very tough game. And in the Little Apples, very hard. But there's so many intriguing games. We've already been through the potential FSPs with all the other ones. But there's games you're going like, no one's that excited about Northwestern Iowa. If I'm a Nebraska fan, I want to see that. Rutgers tonight at USC. I want to see, does USC have anything in them, or are they completely tapped out? It's going to be fun to see if USC can come back and say, because right now there's nothing but pride. Place will be empty on a Friday night. There'll be 40,000 people there with zero interest in what's going on. So it's a lot of interesting games that'll be fun to watch.
Regarding Iowa, this is the first time in a long time for me, Bill, that I remember the defense being average. It's usually an elite a very good defense to elite.
Yep.
And they have Jay Higgins back, who's again is going to be a first round pick likely, or he's a All-American linebacker stud. I don't know what's wrong with their defense. I mean, their offense has been scoring this year. Didn't score well against Michigan State, but
it still wasn't horrible. They still did something.
Up 20 points.
But the shocking part of Michigan State, like I said, was 27 first downs to 12, and Michigan State scored 32 and kicked 6 field goals.
Yep.
Which means they were in the red zone or across inside the 40. How many times, and came away with field goals? That game could have been, if anything goes right at all, that could have been 56 really quick. So you just see such a up and down from Iowa. You just go, wow. wow. So where will they be? Now at home, again, remember when they beat Washington so bad, the numbers didn't say that.
Nope.
If you just looked at the stats and went was it 40-10? You just went like, what?
They had some short
What?
fields with some
yeah,
turnovers,
unbelievable stuff happened. So for Nebraska fans to see what you're up against in the future with USC and Iowa, I think is very, very